Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we have got just a couple of news in regards to Real Madrid. Um, in terms of the latest today, not a lot considered and compared to the last couple of days. We have talked about a lot in regards to the likes of Lenny Yoro, Florian Wirtz, Endrick, Kylian Mbappe, of course. But today it is a bit more quiet. It's a bit more chill. Obviously, we are 6 days from Euros. We're kind of doing a countdown, but um, tomorrow I will upload the Euro prediction of mine. So stay tuned for that. And obviously, earlier today, I just uploaded the ranking Real Madrid's player for the 2023-2024 season video. Go and check it out if you guys haven't already. But today we've got some updates on Alphonso Davies. We've also got some bits on Ceballos. Zinedine Zidane spoke, and a bit more to uncover. As of recording, you know, Croatia just beaten Portugal in a friendly, so that is a good preparation for Croatia and Luka Modric for Euro 2024 as well. So pretty decent there. In terms of other games today, not much else going on in terms of friendlies. I think some teams will be playing tomorrow or the day after, with just a couple of days till Euro 2024. But as we wait for that to come around, let's talk about some news. Starting off, Alphonso Davies. Now, it's not very new news. It's not something that we don't know about. We do know a lot about this, but it's reaffirmation. Confirmation. Just in, Real Madrid have made a strong revived interest in Alphonso Davies from the Athletic. Revived, was this deal dead? We were never really talking, or we never really heard about this deal dying. So what is up? Um, in response to that tweet, meanwhile, Bayern Munich have moved closer to Alphonso Davies over an extension, especially after Kompany's arrival. But after the UCL final, Real Madrid interest reappeared from the Athletic. Firstly, why is it sounding like this deal was dead? Why is it sounding like this interest was gone? It never was. Unless we are missing something, right? There wasn't any reports. There is no reason for the deal to have just gone quiet. Obviously the UCL final happened, but the fact that the interest reappeared means that the interest disappeared during the UCL final. That doesn't make sense. That really doesn't. And I mean, why does Vincent Kompany joining Bayern Munich, help the deal move closer to Bayern Munich? Like, I know he's a new manager coming in, but if you're Alphonso Davies right now and Vincent Kompany is the new manager, you'll be thinking, okay, we've gone. I have played for Bayern Munich for 6 years now. I've played under many good coaches and managers. Hansi Flick, Julian Nagelsmann, Thomas Tuchel, and no disrespect to Vincent Kompany, but he ain't on that level. And suddenly, it's like as if prime, Jose Mourinho is walking into Bayern Munich. Like, come on. I don't think Vincent Kompany going to Bayern Munich, will 100% change Davies' mind. I don't think that is going to happen. I think if he stays, it's because he wants to commit to Bayern Munich for another few years. I don't think he's gonna stay because company has joined. Because company has already joined for what, a few weeks. He would have signed a new contract by now. So I don't think it's really based on Vincent Company. I don't think so. I think it's based on him. I think it's based on how he feels and how he's gonna feel. You know, in terms of staying, in terms of the project, and company is gonna be part of that. But it doesn't mean that because company has joined, he will stay. I think he's yet to have these discussions with company, with Bayern Munich, about the project, about where it's gonna go, what the ambitions are, how are they gonna achieve it, how are they gonna reach and achieve the targets they set. How are they gonna get back to winning Bundesligas and challenging for Champions Leagues, and all of this has to happen after discussions which his camp and him have not made with the club. And obviously after that, you can talk about a contract. But as of now, it's still really 50-50. I think right now he's leaving the door open. And I think that his camp wouldn't really want it to go out there as in he doesn't want to join Real Madrid or he's definitely staying. Because I don't think him and his camp are 100% certain on that. And then this came out, the race for Davies is on, but there's a sense that he's slightly leaning towards renewing with Bayern. Okay, that you don't know whether that's true or false. It could be true, it could be false, for all we know, right? Is there a world we see him stay? Definitely, right? Definitely. But I just think that right now it's reports, it's not confirmation. There isn't a certainty in him staying or leaving. He's got 1 year left in his contract. He's still a Bayern Munich player. His contract doesn't expire this summer. He can stay and, continue if he wants without renewing. Of course, Bayern Munich are making him renew so that they don't lose him on a free next summer. So right now, it's either he signs a new contract renewal and stays, or he leaves. Because we've seen what happened with Kylian Mbappe for the last year. He had practically a year left on his contract. He didn't renew, he stayed, and he went on a free a year later. So Bayern Munich do not want that to happen on a player that they can get at least 40-45 million euros for. Money is money, and money talks. So it's really down to the best interest of Bayern Munich to, cover themselves in case he doesn't renew. But let's say with Davies, he's still got some time to think about it as well. Moving on, Dani Ceballos. Now, this is coming out from Relevo. The departure of Toni Kroos is a bad news for Dani Ceballos. That sounds really weird because it's one less competition. But as we all know, he doesn't benefit from that because he's not a starter. He would have left easier if Kroos had still been on the team. He doesn't want to be a substitute, but Real Madrid don't want to let him go now because they consider him a good bench player. Only a big offer will change that. Will change it. Look, I've said it before. Dani Ceballos should leave. I don't think he's good enough. So, and I think he knows that he's not going to get game time. He knows that he's going to be on the bench. He might play a couple of games. He might start a couple of games and get some minutes. But realistically, with the possibility of Bellingham moving down to an 8, right? And the front line of Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Modric staying, Camavinga coming through, Tchouaméni being the most important part of that midfield because he's the only one who can do that sixth job. Valverde being so different than the rest in terms of his profile. And even Arda Güler and Brahim Diaz can play in the 10 role and maybe Bellingham can move back to the 8. That pushes Dani Ceballos all the way down, and I think he's the bottom of the barrier. I think he's the least favorable option right now when it comes to starting. So for him, it would be, best to leave. And let's not forget as well, even if Davies Ceballos leaves, and you think to yourself, okay, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde, and Bellingham, you might start to wonder if there is a lack of midfield option, right? Which sounds crazy with the kind of players you have in midfield and Luka Modric. But you've got Nico Paz, who's got his first Real Madrid goal last season in the Champions League against Napoli, and you've got Mario Martin, who has been getting some minutes as well in the last few weeks, last final games of the season, and he has been caught up. These two players are young, technically homegrown academy players that I think deserve the chance. I don't see why not, especially Nico Paz. He has come in a big Champions League night at the Bernabeu. If I'm not wrong, it was at the Bernabeu. Yep, he was, and has scored in the Champions League. Not many players do that. So I'm not saying he should start every game. Definitely not. But I'm saying you can give him the Davies Ceballos role, the substitute role, the player that will probably play a couple of games, and that's about it. Anyways, we have got a bit more. Davies Ceballos is not satisfied with his role at Real Madrid. He expected to be more important. He's also hurt by not being an option in the Spanish national team. Why is he not an option for Spain? Because he isn't starting regularly at Real Madrid, and he knows that if he's playing for, a lesser team, any other team in Spain, a mid-table team, he would definitely get into the Spain squad. Because I really think that, who is in there? Certainly, Ayoze Perez made it. I mean, they're not playing the same position, but you don't have to play for the top 3 Spanish teams or the top teams in the world. I think with Spain, players from Real Sociedad, Real Betis have made it. So I think with Spain, it's no longer about playing for the top 3 teams in Spain or the biggest clubs in Europe. I don't think it's that. I really think that as long as you're playing, you're getting minutes, you're performing, you can make it. And Davies Ceballos knows that if he had played for a mid-table team or a lesser team, getting minutes consistently, playing consistently, he would have made it. And obviously he hasn't, because he hasn't been getting minutes. So he feels like he should leave to get minutes for Spain and for himself, which is fair enough. Fair enough. But Real Madrid are probably not going to sell him this summer. He's not going to leave. He's going to sit on the bench again. He's going to be a backup option. It's just how it's going to be. If I'm not wrong, there is a couple bit more of news. Zinedine Zidane spoke. Obviously a legend. This was to Canal Plus, if I'm not wrong, Canal Sport Plus, whatever you like to call it. He was asked, players who impressed me the most as a coach, him. When you see Kroos, Modric and Benzema playing for you for an hour without losing a single ball, that is football. When you were Real Madrid's coach, did you want to jump on the pitch and help your team? It happened to me once or twice, but unfortunately I couldn't do it. I'm always glued to the touchline. I like to be close to my players. I don't like sitting. And just to move on from that for a while, this came out from Relevo. Chelsea want to follow in the footsteps of Florentino Perez and Real Madrid in reference to signing top young players. So 2 things to break down there. 2 final bits of news. Zidane speaking, legend. I think what he said was true in terms of some of the best players he's coached. Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, Benzema. Certainly, there have been so many. He couldn't list them all out, but I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, Sergio Ramos. There's so many players in that team, in the three-peat, that he could have mentioned. And am I surprised he mentioned Modric, Kroos, Benzema? No. You could have mentioned anyone in that team, and people would have gone, that makes sense. And obviously, he talked about something interesting. He doesn't like to sit down on a bench, on a touchline. He likes to be there, giving instructions, talking to the players, maybe shouting, maybe, but standing around, giving instructions. and we know he is a person. We knew he's been a player and as a manager, but as a person, he likes to, be interactive, talk, make himself known. You can um, few meanings to that, but that was interesting. And then this, are we surprised? I mean, Chelsea have been signing young players, young Brazilian players, for so long now. I don't mean so long like 10 years, but the last couple of years, right? And look, Real Madrid will be a role model to teams, to new, you know, owners, to new director of footballs. Definitely. But is following Real Madrid's way, follow Real Madrid's model, strategy, going to work? Is signing a bunch of 18-year-old Brazilians going to work for every team? The answer is no. The reason Real Madrid can go to do what they've done with Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Endrick, and not just Brazilians, right? We're talking young players, Arda Güler, Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, is very different to how you'd imagine it. Because most teams think that they'll just throw a bunch of young players in and they'll just start playing well. But these players were planned long before this year or last year. Talk about 2018 Real Madrid, that team. Ronaldo, Benzema, Bale, Modric, Kroos, Casemiro, Ramos, Varane, Marcelo, Carvajal, Navas. 6 years ago. It was only 6 years ago. And I can tell you, 6 years ago, Real Madrid and Florentino Perez, most importantly, was planning, how do I replace Ronaldo? How do I replace, Casemiro? How do I replace these players who are integral to the team? Bale, Benzema, Modric, Kroos, Casemiro, Ronaldo, everyone. How do I replace them? And you go out there, you get your scout. Okay, go and find me a bunch of players who have been good, who are coming through, who are going to be the next thing in the next 10 years. And this obviously doesn't happen in 1 year, it happens across 5 years. So, obviously, Vinicius Jr. came in 2018 as not the Ronaldo replacement, because there was Eden Hazard. And we all know what happened with Eden Hazard. It was a complete flop. But Vinicius Jr. was there. And he was there for the long term. So that tells you two things. Signing young players for the long term, not for currently, because you can't just throw them in and let them figure it out themselves. And signing experienced players who have made it along with them. Eden Hazard came in to be the main man. And although it didn't work, what that did was allow Vinicius Jr. to come in and play and get the minutes and get the algorithm going and become who he is today. So that's what I'm going to say. I don't think following what Real Madrid are doing can apply to everyone, because you need to be at a level where you can do that. Your team needs to be experienced but also winning. If you have got a bunch of players who are winning, they are the best team in the world, you can think about the next 10 years. That is how it works. But right now, I think with a team like Chelsea, how many players in there are experienced leaders? I don't see many. I really don't. So you need to get the leadership and the experience in that team while trying to transition into a younger team. You can sign 19, 20-year-olds. You can. But you need your 28, 29, 30-year-olds at the same time to transition. And speaking of transition, this season that just passed was meant to be that season that Real Madrid transitioned from the likes of Modric and Kroos to the likes of Bellingham, Valverde, Camavinga. And I think that this season has peaked and has gone very, very early. It's gone far too early, really. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the subscribe to the channel on already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.